we are going to look at three major categories of waste, right? The non-value adding activities. That's what we are going to look at in detail, right? So there are three categories, and three Japanese words is Muda, Mura, and Muri. So let us look at all of them today. Muda means non-value adding activity. So whatever activity which doesn't add any value is called Muda. So that's the first category. And second one is Mura. Mura means process variations, right? We are going to look at it in detail. And Muri means fatigue or overburdening the people and machines. These two we will look at it after Muda. So first let us look at the non-value adding activities. So the waste typically we discussed about in the last section, right? The non-value adding activity, that's called as a Muda. So there are 7 types of waste which are present in all the manufacturing companies. This is present in all the manufacturing companies, right? So let us look at each one of these waste now. The 7 wastes. So the 7 wastes can be easily remembered as TIMWOOD, TIMWOOD. Transportation, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects, right? Aditya and Mr. Jawahar, we will answer this question later. Yeah, please don't, participants don't type anything in the chat box now. We will answer your questions at the end. I got your question, Aditya. Yeah, I will answer it at the end. So there are 7 types of waste which we looked at, TIMWOOD, right? So transport, let us look at each one of them in detail now. So the transportation. So transportation is moving the material from one place to another place, right? Is there any physical or chemical change that happens in the product? No, right? The product is just changing the location, right? The product moved from one area to another area. Can we completely eliminate transportation? No, because anyway the product has to move from one machine to the next machine or one section to another section. So we cannot eliminate transportation, but we can reduce the transportation, right? How will you identify the transportation waste in any company, right? Whenever you see a lot of conveyors, forklifts, material movement, material handling equipments, which means there is a transportation waste. Let me give an example. Like if there is a big factory with a lot of machines spread across the factory in a zigzag manner, right? The component has to move from one machine to the next machine to a very long distance, right? And there are a lot of conveyors and forklifts which are used to move the materials here and there. Generally, there is a lot of zigzag movement. In this case, the transportation waste is present. We can reduce this transportation by arranging the machines in a line format or a continuous flow system. Thereby, we can eliminate thereby we can reduce the transportation, right? Multiple storage of materials, multiple movement of material, poor facility, like the poor layout. That's what I mentioned now a little earlier. So these are all some of the examples of transportation waste, right? Like what I said earlier, transportation waste cannot be eliminated, but it can be reduced. The second one is the inventory. Again, many people have doubt. Inventory is the stock which is present inside the company. How will we say inventory as a waste, right? When the material is stored as inventory, is there any physical or chemical change that happens? No, right? There are generally 3 types of inventories. The first one is called raw material. The second one is called work in progress or work in process, WIP, that is present in between the machines. And the third one is called finished goods stock, FG stock, generally they say. So these are the 3 types of inventory. During this in any of these type of inventory, is there a physical or chemical change that happens in the product? No, right? The product is just lying there as it is. When the material is stored in your raw material stores, is there any physical change? No. But we can reduce the inventory. You cannot eliminate them. Similarly, like our transportation waste, the inventory waste can be reduced, but it cannot be completely eliminated. See, there are a lot of automobile companies, the large automotive companies like Hyundai or Ford, all these big companies, they have their vendors near their company itself. In the same industrial estate only, all their major suppliers will be present. Why? Because these large companies, they cannot stock a lot of these materials. For example, I'll just give an example. In Chennai, we have this Hyundai factory, and every car will have 5 tires that goes with the car, right? 4 which will be assembled in the car, and 1 will be a stepney. right? So every car requires 5 tires, and in a shift, let us say, even if they produce 1,000 cars, right, we need 5,000 tires. And where is the place to store 5,000 tires, right? It will be a huge requirement. So what these large automotive companies do is they will have all their tier 1 vendors very close to them, so that there will be something called as a vendor managed inventory, or where the suppliers will be holding the stock, right? The tier 1 guys will be holding the stock, and they will be sending the materials as and when required for the shift. There will be, even for one shift, there will be multiple deliveries for the particular product. So in this case, the OEMs or the large companies, they shift the stock to the suppliers, and they don't have, these companies, the large companies, they don't have any stores. They call it as a supplier self-certification, and they just take the component from the suppliers and directly into the shop floor they assemble it. So this is what is being practiced. So which means the stock position is transferred to the suppliers, but these companies will hold a very less inventory, right? We have gone very deep into this inventory waste anyway. The third waste is called motion waste. Motion waste is the people movement, which does not add any value to the product. For example, people walk inside the factory for many things, searching for tools, taking the materials, transportation, right? Transportation waste and people movement sometimes go together, right? And similarly, they do a lot of bending and climbing the machine, leaning, twisting, all those things they do. So these activities, they don't add any value to the product, right? Motion waste can be reduced by placing the components near the operation, and we call it as a point of use storage, POUS, point of use storage, right? And some of the examples are people walking, searching for tools, excessive reaching, bending, material too far apart. So these are all some examples of motion waste. And the fourth waste is the waiting waste. The idle time in which there is no value addition that happens in the product. Imagine there are 3 types of resources, right? One is the manpower, then the machine, and the material. If any one resource is waiting for the other resources, it is called as a waiting waste. So some of the common examples are the machine breakdown. For example, if there is a machine breakdown, what will happen to the material? The material will be waiting for the machine. Similarly, the person also will be waiting for the machine to get ready, right? So there are 2 resources now waiting for the machine. And similarly, if there is an absenteeism, for example, the person is not there, but the machine is available, the material is not available, right? So in case the company decides not to take the production for that particular product on that day, both these resources are waiting for the person, right? So there is a waiting waste. And there is another example which happens in most of the companies. Imagine there is a CNC machine, and the operator of the CNC machine, he loads the component, he closes the door, and he runs the program. And after that, let us say the cycle time is, let us say, 2 minutes. These 2 minutes, this person will be just standing and watching the machine running. He will be just watching inside the machine whether it is running properly or not. This is also a waiting waste, because this particular manpower is just watching the machine running, right? So what companies do is they create a cell layout in such a way that a person loads the machine, closes the door, switch on the program, and then he immediately goes to the next machine. And they created the cell in such a way that the manpower is optimized for these 2 or 3 operations, right? So this is called as a waiting waste. And the fifth waste we are going to look at is called overproduction. This overproduction generally comes in 2 major themes. The first one is producing more than the customer requirement, that is the external customer's requirement. Imagine the company has an order of let us say 1,000 pieces. The product internal production planning, they create the plan for producing 1,050 pieces, because they will have an internal calculation saying, okay, they will have some defects, and to compensate for that, they will produce a little more, right? 1,050 pieces they will start producing. So this is the overproduction situation, one. And second one is producing more than my internal customer. That is, my internal, the next operation is my internal customer. So if I produce more than my internal customer, it is also called as a overproduction, because imagine I am doing one operation where the cycle time is 1 minute per piece. The next operation will take 2 minutes per piece, the cycle time, right? So in an hour, I can produce 60 pieces because my cycle time is 1 minute. So I will complete 60 pieces, and the next person can do only 30 pieces because his cycle time is 2 minutes. So what happens in between is the 30 pieces which I produce, that will become a WIP, work in progress, and it will be in between both the process, right? So this is how work in progress will keep on adding, right? So this is also a overproduction, that is producing more than my internal customers requirement, right? So this is called overproduction. And the sixth ways we are going to look at is called overprocessing. Overprocessing is the activities or the efforts which we produce, which we put in the product, which the customer doesn't care for. He doesn't pay for that, right? Multiple countings, multiple stages of inspection that happens inside companies, right? They may look like they are adding value, but it doesn't add any value, right? For example, imagine there is a company where the product gets completed, the semi-finished stage in one section, and it has to be taken to the next section. And at the end of the previous section, they will do a counting, right? And they will inspect it, right? And they will do a small packing, and then they send to the next section. And these people, the next section people, when they are getting the component from the previous section, they will again count it, they will again do an incoming inspection, right? And they have to unpack it and they start using it, right? So in like this, multiple stages of counting, multiple stages of inspection, all these things are non-value adding activity, but we think that it is adding value because these are all activities which are done to compensate for our inefficiencies, right? Why we have to do multiple countings in between different departments? Because they don't trust each other, and they say, okay, the last time when they gave the materials, right, there are a lot of shortages and there are a lot of product mix-ups. So now I am doing again accounting and inspection again. So because of some inefficiencies, we have started creating another process, right? So this is called as a over processing waste. And the last waste, the seventh waste we are going to look at is called defect. Everybody knows what the defect is. A defect is something when the specification is not met, the customer specification is not met. So it's called as a defect. Defective means the product which is having the defect, right? There is a difference between defect and defective. And for example, a garment, a shirt manufacturing company is there. What is a defect? A defect here is, if the stitching is not proper in one area, that's called as a defect. One button is missed, it becomes a defect. So because of these defects, the product becomes defective. The shirt becomes a defective shirt, right? So there is a small difference between defect and defective. Defective is the product which we are manufacturing, and defect is the exact reason, of the change in the specification, right? The button has to be there, but it is not there. So that's called as a defect. So because of this defect, the shirt became defective. So these are the 7 ways which are present in all companies. Generally nowadays people are talking about the 8th ways, that is unused skill or knowledge of people, right? People have a lot of skills and knowledges, but if you're not using them, in your operations, in your activities, it's also called as a waste, which people now added to lean manufacturing. But in an overall theme, if you look at, these are the 7 types of waste which are present in all the companies. And next we are going to talk about something called as a Mura. So far the 7 wastes are under Muda. So now we are going to look at what is called as a Mura. Mura means process variations. The variations in the process also happen in 2 major categories. The first one is, in some companies, if you look at, the month end production will be very high, and during the starting of the month there will not be any production, right? So there is a clear mismatch in terms of the production planning. So that will happen in most of the companies, right? That is also called as a process variation. And the second type of variation is in a mission, after the setting, the product will come out with a good specification, that is based on the customer's requirement. But once the machine runs for some time, the tool will get wear and tear, the insert has to be changed, so there will be some vibration, noise. Because of all those external conditions or the machine's capability, there will be a lot of variation will come in the product. So that is also called as a Mura. So process variation happens in a broader level, the company-wide level, also in the machine level, right? Eliminating Mura is very important because the Mura, when the process variation happens, a lot of time, it will end up, creating a lot of Muda. When the machine does not, produce the right quality products, a lot of defects will come, right? So generally, if you look at Mura, will create a lot of Muda in most of the companies. And the third one we are going to look at is called Muri. Muri means in Japanese, it's called fatigue or strain. This again the overburdening of machines and people, right? We are looking at two major themes. That is the that is the manpower, and also for the machines. When a machine is overburdened, right? What happens? The machine will start, leaking oil, air leakage will happen. The machine will start vibration. Right, the stress level internally, the machine components, that will become too much, and after a period of time, the machine breaks down. Similarly, if you overburden people, what happens? Their productivity will come down. They feel strained or fatigued, and at the end of the day, their productivity will be very less, and they will start taking a lot of leaves, and absenteeism will become high, and their productivity generally becomes very less. So these are the three major categories of waste. Right, Muda, Mura, and Muri. Right, are we all clear?